This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by GlobalSpeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of GlobalSpeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. Today we have the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Thomas Hynes. Dr. Hynes is the president of Clayton State University. Dr. Hynes, welcome to Tech Talk.
It's a delight to be on Tech Talk. Thank you.
Obviously, anyone that has any interest in education and academic influence in the state of Georgia certainly is aware of what Clayton State has been doing for a long time, long-standing reputation as the South Metro Atlanta region's foremost provider of higher education. And again, many of us are aware of the great academic programs that you've been running for a number of years, but the thriving continuing education program, the Small Business Development Center, even the 10,000 square foot sound production studio that houses the university's Film and Digital Media Center. Those are extremely important, but today we're going to kind of narrow down and focus on things that I think are critically important to our listening audience, and that's the members of the technology community and those that are involved in the Technology Association of Georgia. So let's kind of narrow into some of the issues that I think are important to all of us in that industry, and let's start by the documented shortage of women and minorities and obviously other underrepresented populations in the technology fields. How is Clayton State making a contribution to making a difference in that arena for women and underrepresented minorities, and maybe specifically go into careers in technology and other STEM fields?
First of all, I think the institution does a nice job of creating an environment to support growing technology industries on the south side of metropolitan Atlanta. In collaboration with TAG not too long ago, the university, in collaboration with the Henry County Chamber of Commerce, hosted a Tay and Tech event, which tried to indicate a way in which we could have attracted more individuals interested in technology to this part of the state. Certainly, for our academic programs, our interest in connecting women and other underserved individuals to technology has had some considerable history. Long before I arrived at Clayton State in 2009, the institution had developed a student organization titled Women Interested in STEM, which provides mentoring and networking opportunities with technology professionals who are with TAG Women in Technology Society. It's also the case that those activities have been supported by supporters like Georgia Power, amongst others, who have helped create resources to do that. Minority female students have been selected to receive scholarships through fundraising efforts of the Women in Technology program. Our faculty mentors in Women in Technology, or WeSTEM, and the campus chapter of the Association for Computing Machinery engage students from both organizations in applied projects, things like wearable technology and game development, that have received a lot of recognition. I think that gives a flavor for the way in which service to our students constitutes service that enhances opportunities in technology now and in the future for women and minorities and other underserved individuals here at Clayton State.
Dynamics are obviously layered and has a lot of different tentacles as it reaches out to the community and a lot of community involvement. Needless to say, many of us are aware of the fact that you've been named 7 times by the Atlanta Business Chronicle as a leader in Atlanta education. Georgia 10 recognized you as the 100 most influential Georgians both in 2015 and in 2016. It isn't just about academics, while it is. It's also about a knowledge and understanding of the economy and of the marketplace and being heavily involved in so many different aspects of it. Let's go into a little bit of economic growth and maybe talk a little bit about academic programs that are affecting the in-demand technology-related jobs. Again, a lot of our listeners are aware that Governor Deal's High Demand Career Initiative has identified these areas and skill sets what's Clayton doing to really augment and enhance that situation?
Well, this past fall, the governor's office was gracious enough to host one of the regional efforts for high-demand career initiatives here on the Clayton State campus. And we were incredibly appreciative that he recognized our desire to develop partnerships with industries, with governments, to create opportunities for a 21st century commitment to continuous learning. Our Bachelor of Science degree in computer science is crafted to develop a well-rounded computer science curriculum with game development. The Web BSIT program, a fully online program, ranked as one of the top such programs in the country by AffordableCollegesOnline.com, is another important component of technology learning. The Bachelor of Information Technology provides in-depth study and practices in information technology, students having an opportunity to combine that work with cognate disciplines such as healthcare management and business, so that there are applications of technological use into specific content environments. Physically being close to both the state and the regional national archives, our Masters of Archival Studies program has focused on the emerging needs of developing archival records in an electronic age, and that's been an important part of our contribution. Certainly, one cannot be in the business of logistics and supply chain education without a notion of the increasing demand for the use of big data to improve logistics in the future. So I think that there is a great deal of activity associated with addressing those specific needs. And I think, as you mentioned earlier in our conversation, the development of an instructional soundstage for teaching of film production and digital media is a part of our adaptation to the demands of high-demand careers.
You know, I think a philosophical point of I'm trying to remember the actual philosophy that says something like the solution is simple. It's the implementation that becomes the real challenge. I think in this case, I think you've got both of them that are difficult without any question. But I guess where I'm leading towards now is we kind of know the things that need to be done, but now we got to motivate the students to get involved in some of these situations. And I guess the next step then would be, what are the insights as it relates to some of the innovative strategies that you guys are using at Clayton State? Obviously, academic courses in computing and mathematics and science, not so exciting, maybe not as exciting as film production might be to some of them, but obviously STEM and some of the impact of some of those academics are going to be absolutely necessary in the future. What are you guys doing to motivate students to persist in those areas that obviously are traditionally difficult?
One of the developments at our institution over the last 3 years has been a 5-year project titled Partnering Academics with Community Engagement. And the principle is relatively simple. It creates the conditions in which a wide variety of academic programs find ways to achieve the learning outcomes of those programs and courses within those programs at some location in the community. One of the ways in which that's partnerships that have been incredibly successful have involved our colleagues in our College of Information and Mathematical Sciences, and especially their work in 3D modeling, software, their work in robotics, their partnerships with area public schools, where we have a college with a commitment to expanding to virtually any middle school that is in this area an opportunity to participate in robotics work. So there are ways in which what might be a simple task of coding can be placed in a context in which you can get excited about seeing the exact results of that coding, whether it's building some sort of a model through a 3D printer program, or whether it is building the next robot that will be able to find its way around your school.
You know, obviously, bloom where you're planted. The reality of the situation is many institutions, academic institutions, without question, are involved not only in the academic pursuit, in this case the education in the area of technology, but let's talk a little bit about the role that you guys play as far as community development is concerned and community outreach. I know that one of the recognitions is the Carnegie Foundation has commented that you are a community-engaged campus. Maybe touch a little bit about what that means, but equally dive in a little bit about how Clayton State supports the local community while promoting education, especially in the area of technology.
Well, I think that the previously mentioned partnering academics with community engagement, or PACE program, is one specific manifestation of that. There are of course many others. The institution has been significantly involved through the Clayton County Chamber of Commerce, for example, in that organization's principal partner program, which places a community partner with a principal in every public school within Clayton County. One of the ways in which the robotics program has been expanded in the county was started through that exact kind of conversation. I know that the dean of our College of Information and Mathematical Sciences, Dr. Lila Roberts, has been involved with one particular school, the Rex Mills Middle School, now for going on 5 years, and has developed with that school a students and parents introduction to college, where once a semester, parents and students from that school are invited to the institution. Students given an opportunity to work in robotics and computer labs. Parents given an introduction to what would be helpful and required to support their children in navigating a somewhat new world of a college or university. And I think that's those are a couple of examples of the kinds of ways in which partnerships can be made real.
Well, again, an academic institution, I'm sure you're challenged by the rapidly changing and obviously, as we've discussed, the highly technical society that we not only live in today, but over the next couple of years, next decade is going to be multiplied so dynamically. I think the terminology disruption now defines the economy and not any specific vertical technology or particular industry. Let's talk a little bit in terms of, number one, is it a case where you can create an environment that produces what amounts to, I guess, maybe even a national model for a university-based community engagement, while at the same time equipping the students for the kind of learning and success of the future? Maybe go into a little bit about what are those plans and how do you prepare students for that changing world?
The university, at around the turn of the 21st century, was a very early adapter of notebook university concept, that computers were seen as a device to be integrated into the learning process across the curriculum. While the use of computing or information technology is no longer unique, some of the infrastructure that was established, especially a Center for Instructional Development, which provides support for applications of technology into the learning process across the curriculum, not only in the College of Art, in the College of Information and of Information and Mathematical Sciences, but also in the College of Business and the College of Health and the College of Arts and Sciences. And so that's the kind of general framework which has been set up to talk about ongoing ability for our instructors to learn applications of technology across the curriculum, and therefore provide opportunities for our students to learn in that environment.
Now, when we talk about setting a national standard, creating a quality that almost sets the standard as much as it competes with a national performance criteria, I guess that's a dream. I know that also that it's a vision that ultimately has to be turned into reality. I thought it was interesting. I was reading an article the other day that was saying that Clayton State's motto is "Dreams Made Real," which I thought was, number one, a great creative vision, but certainly a situation that a lot of our startup companies, a lot of even existing enterprises today are challenged by, and that is the constant change and looking at inspiration and innovation and then taking those ideas and turning them into reality. Challenge. We often ask some of our visitors in Tech Talk to reach out a little bit and look into the future, and we also jokingly say it's so 20 minutes ago with how rapidly everything seems to be changing. But can you give us some advice, or especially give some advice to those who are dreaming of pursuing a career in technology and even other STEM fields?
Well, I don't think that there's any doubt. At first, I'd invite anyone to explore the opportunities, if they're a student, to come to Clayton State. And if they're a continuous learner, to work through our continuing education program, which has long taken a lead of being able to ramp up quite quickly programs that will allow individuals to apply specific components of learning to specific career or job needs. I certainly would suggest that individuals need to be willing to take some risks, and in changing environments, and certainly we are in an environment in which information is changing constantly. That continuous learning is going to be a key to anyone's success in the future. We think that our institutions great efforts in our upcoming strategic plan, which we will finalize this fall, will focus on a couple of things that we think can allow us to be national models. First, our ability to utilize community-based settings as a mechanism for achieving learning outcomes across the curriculum. Secondly, to create the conditions in which our students will unfailingly be able to articulate the elements of what they've learned, and to, in that articulation, be able to apply this in formal and informal settings in the workplace, whether in the nonprofit, the public, or the private sector. We think that's going to be transformational over the next 5 years, and will be such in degree programs that will create learners prepared for 21st century change.
You know, one of the great opportunities we have on Tech Talk is to explore areas that don't get enough recognition, don't get enough notice, and certainly organizations and even enterprises that fit that same description. I think there's a lot of people who are aware of what's going on in Clayton State. There's a lot of others that are probably listening to some of the discussion today and are just being totally overwhelmed and completely impressed. A lot of buzz, a lot of great proof of concept that's happening with the vision and the ideas that you have already been implementing, and some of the vision that you are talking about implementing in the future. Dr. Hynes, thank you so much for taking time out of what I know has got to be a busy schedule.
I appreciate your excellent questions and your thoughtful interest in Clayton State University. Thank you.